Who were you before you lost your wild self?
That's what we're helping you explore on the Tend Her Wild podcast.
Through questions and tools around how best to listen to your inner voice,
rewild ourselves, and live the most authentic life where we thrive instead of survive.
I'm Betsy.
And I'm Kate.
And we're so glad you've joined us for this episode. Hello, podcast listeners. We are in the studio today with two amazingly creative women that we've been collaborating with for many years, and we're excited to talk about a new collaboration we're doing.
Two of our favorites.
They are. I know. So Kate and I are teaching a Tend Her Wild online course, and we wanted to put together a Rewilding Box. So if you sign up for the course, you get this amazing box in the mail with all of these items to enhance your rewilding journey. And when we started to design the box, we had these two people in mind that we for sure wanted to collaborate. So here they are, drum roll. We're welcoming Leslie McNeilus of Pure Luxe Apothecary.
Thank you.
And Rachael Roewe of Made Community.
Ma'am.
Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Well, we feel like we know you, but I don't know that we really know you.
We know their work. We love their work.
We love your work, but we don't. We're really excited to ask you some questions about, like we do with every guest, a little bit about your first 10 years and what you were like as young girls, because you're incredibly creative as adults. And I know you all have a story, but what were you like as young girls?
Let's start with Leslie.
Yeah.
Okay. Where to start? I think I basically lived outside. From about age 5, I lived on an acreage. My parents designed and built their house there after doing a lot of flipping projects. They created their own home. So I had this beautiful acreage to grow up on with pastures and fields and a stream running through. So I basically lived outside, and dogs, cats, we had different animals in different summers. My parents are both very I would say they're both very creative and open-hearted people in different ways. My dad is a math teacher, educator, but he also kind of had his own entrepreneurial journey, buying houses, renovating houses, and having rental properties in Charles City. So I saw that. I saw him doing a lot of DIY projects and kind of making and building and creating and fixing and problem solving kind of things. I saw him doing that, and I helped with that a lot. So there's that side. And then my mom, she started as a nurse, but did a lot of different things. But she was really, I think, an artist at heart. So there wasn't a craft project or art skill that she didn't try or love, I think. So she was always painting and stained glass, cake decorating, all those things. So I just really saw a lot of this making, hands-on, figure it out, creative, building, making beauty. Like I was kind of immersed in
surrounded
all
by that.
Yeah.
And you have one sister?
Yeah, I have an older sister. She's 7.5 years older than me. So I looked up to her a lot, still do. But our age difference when we were younger was probably most notable, because by the time I came around, she was into Friends and reading books and doing her thing, and I just wanted to play with her. So we clashed a little when we were younger, but now we're really close and grateful for her. So home to me is kind of sacred space. Like I said, I'm an introvert. I'm quiet. What's around me and what I see and what I feel in my space is important. So that's a big part of what I do in my business and my home life. It all kind of has to align for me to feel good about it. So
we didn't want to leave. It was so beautiful. We're like,
thank you.
So welcoming.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely a plant person. I've been busy kind of rewilding my yard space. That's been important to me, to get rid of grass. Like, we don't need grass. We need native plants and pollinators and more biodiversity and that sort of thing. So alongside of business, I've really been working in my yard quite a bit. And it's part of the bigger picture for me of holistic health and wellness and the connection between us as humans and the environment and how we live our best, most healthiest lives. I think it's all connected. So it makes sense to me personally anyway to be involved in all of those things and doing those things.
Love it. Rachel,
Yeah, let's hear
first
from you.
10 years.
First 10. I would love it if I had kept a diary, or if my mom had. I would love to know like what little Rachel
you
was
really
really
were.
like. I mean, when I've listened to you guys' podcast a million times, and when people describe their first 10 years, I kind of panic because I think I don't know if I remember anything, So I mean, I was born in Iowa City, and we made a big move, I thought, when I was 5 to a small town for my dad's job. And my biggest concern was, are there going to be friends there? I felt like I had such a good group of people around me. And then when we moved, like the first thing I did with my mom, I said, we have to walk around the block. I need to find out who lives here.
People.
And we had, it was like 44 kids, I think, in the neighborhood at that time. So like, I felt like I hit the jackpot in terms of getting to meet like my new people. That was really important to me. So I know
What
that
town was it?
Yeah.
Burlington.
Burlington.
So
you moved
the
from
small
Iowa City to
small town
Burlington.
atmosphere too, probably. Yeah, everyone was right there.
And so we just had a crew. We ran the neighborhood. Like that was really fun. But like in terms of like what I was like, I mean, I could tell you a lot about the textures in our house. I could tell you about our shag carpet. I could probably pick the color out if they were still selling it.
Avocado green.
We had an orange, like a burnt.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
avocado
Burnt
green at my
orange.
house.
Yeah.
We
that
had a
kind
lot of
thing.
oranges. Yeah.
And like the wallpaper that at a friend's place, I could remember a lot about textures and colors, and like I think I was just very observant of that time period. And I feel like to your point of like that's kind of what I like about my job now. I'm playing with textures, I'm playing with colors, and I'm trying to get back to that in my body in that moment of observing life in that way. I mean, I think there was some point where I switched to my brain. As a
From your
kid.
heart. Yes.
Yeah. And then you follow that path for a while. So I feel like with the work that I'm doing now, I'm back to little Rachel, although I don't know really, really what she was like.
Oh, were you the youngest?
Oh, I was the oldest. I forgot. I do have siblings. I am the oldest of 3.
I have a sister and a brother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you've got the eldest daughter.
A little bit of that syndrome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Well, I mean, you learn a lot about like recruiting people for your ideas. I mean, I think I definitely was a kid that came home every day or I've got a really good idea, and would find people that wanted to do that really great idea. And I think at that point, my siblings were very supportive of that.
I think that's the leadership in you that I've always seen too. You were a leader young. An idea person, it sounds like young.
Yeah, I was always, and like, I think about my parents, they were just really supportive of that. They're like, what do you need from us? Not like, can we jump in and do it? They're like, what do you need from us? Like my mom specifically, like she's just very resourceful, like one of the most resourceful people I know. And she'd be like, well, let's make that, or let's do that. Or we craft in the basement, and just seeing someone show you that, or like, oh, you want your hair permed? Oh, let's get in the kitchen and do that. I'll get the rods, like there was just a lot of that. Like if you see it somewhere, let's try it. And like my dad, they ran their own business. And so they were partners in crime in that, and watching that entrepreneurial spirit with them of seeing like, how do you take care of people? How do you run a business together? How do you just do that in a small town and find people that really support you? And what does that mean? What does reputation mean? What does community mean? I feel like that was a big part of. And every time you go to the grocery store, oh gosh, mom and dad are going to talk to everybody in the aisle.
Yeah.
They were very, very good at like making people feel comfortable. And I hope I got a little of that too.
You absolutely
You do.
Yeah.
Well, they're both entrepreneurs.
I know.
Both of your parents
Families.
were entrepreneurs.
I think that's fascinating. I think seeing that young, there is something that gets planted
Yeah.
that it's possible to create something of your own.
And it becomes dinner table conversation about like, oh, what's going on at the office? What's doing this? What's doing that? Like, how are we going to solve for that? And you just become kind of not part of the process, but hearing about it.
You're taking it in. You're
taking it
soaking
in.
it up.
We weren't a family where we're talking like politics. So it's like sometimes I feel very like I don't know, out of water with that. But if someone wants to talk about their business, about their idea, about their concept, I want in, like all the way in.
We just did that
Yeah.
yesterday when you did my hair. We were talking business ideas. So I know you're good at
Yeah,
that.
I love that. I love to root for new businesses.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, we want to talk for just a little bit about when you did kind of move away from your hearts and kind of focused on your brains, and you went into your first careers, which were a little more inside the box, probably due to expectations and the way things were. But what did that look like for each of you?
I think I didn't really know what my path was. I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do. I just was kind of fumbling around and finding the next right thing. Well, in high school, I was part of the German-American partnership program. We did an exchange. So we had a sister school. So I lived with a host family for one summer with a group of us. And then we had to host students. So that was kind of a seed planted. And then by the time college rolled around, I knew I wanted to study abroad. So I built that into my junior year and studied in Austria.
I love Austria.
Yeah, it's
Vienna?
gorgeous. Klagenfurt,
Okay.
actually, in the southern part of Austria. So by the end of college, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was studying psychology. Like, I knew that was my interest. I wanted to understand people and myself. Like, why are we the way we are? How are things working? But after that study abroad experience, I got to know my advisor, my study abroad advisor, and thought, oh, okay, I want to do what she's doing. So like that seemed like a really positive way to use psychology, like more of the experiential learning, intercultural learning about the broader, bigger world. So I just picked that path and went on and did a master's in higher education and chose the path to be a study abroad advisor. So that's how I launched into that world. And
you did it for how many years?
Yeah.
20 some years, I think,
Okay.
in different places. But after I finished all the education, I had I was down to the final two interviewing for like a quote real job in higher ed in Boston.
I love how you did that, the real job,
Oh,
like the quotes,
real
because
job. Yes.
as if what we're doing now isn't real.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Real job.
There is that,
Yeah.
that vibe. Yeah. So it was between that, a real job, or this like quirky, unpaid temporary internship experience in London at an American university, like a 9-month, very poorly paid, nothing after it kind of thing. And of course I took
You went to London.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Ooh, got to take the risk and go with the adventure. So that led down this whole path of working in higher ed, which was amazing. And I appreciate the values behind it, like helping other students find their way in the world and learn from people, get out of their comfort zone, get out of the Midwest or wherever. I really valued that, but I struggled with the admin side of things and sitting in an office and the bureaucratic paperwork and politics and different places. So I stuck with it for a while because there were these interesting opportunities to travel and live in different places and meet new people. But eventually I knew like just my heart and my soul wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the long game with that. There was a ceiling to what kind of role I could be in or move into, and I didn't want any of those roles. So I was then also just kind of pulling at the things that were interesting to me outside of work, which was travel and learning about other cultures and plants. And everywhere I lived, I was always going to farmers markets and botanical gardens and artisan markets and who's making what and why and what's the latest creative thing. Like that fired me up and was super joyful. So I just eventually found this program in London at the University of Westminster. They had, it's an integrated health complementary therapies degree. It was a little daunting because it was a whole degree, like a Bachelor of Science degree, which was a little bit more than I wanted to take on, but I really wanted all of that knowledge base, and it was unique. I didn't know that was even an option in life, from where I grew up and in the 80s and 90s, I didn't know holistic health was. a
That
thing.
seems very like ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And the UK, I feel like, is ahead of the US curve in terms of embracing like a more integrated way of viewing
Mhm.
health, like versus just here's the conventional medical Western path. They seem to be really more embracing of, well, there's all these other cultures and traditions and deep histories of using plants and lifestyle and the things you choose in your daily life to live well and have health. So that
So you
lit me up.
did you do the full 4 years?
It's a 3-year.
It's a 3-year.
In the UK undergrad. You don't have to do all the gen eds in the UK.
But you did it. You
I
did it all.
I did it
And
all.
when did you
Yeah.
do that?
It was like, I think 2006 to 2009.
Okay.
So,
And so you lived in London?
lived in
Mm.
London. I worked and lived and studied. And yeah, it was like a foundation in health sciences. So anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, chemistry, all that jazz.
Wow, chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know.
We see that though. We
yeah.
created a scent with you. We know you have a
Yes.
deep inner chemist in you.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then on top of that foundation, you could kind of choose your pathway. It's changed now. It doesn't exist there anymore. I was just looking it up the other day. They have different times, different degrees. But then you could choose what your focus was, whether it was naturopathy, bodywork, acupuncture, aromatherapy, all these different things. So I kind of picked the general path where I could dabble and learn a little bit about everything. But my primary focus was plants, botany, and essential oils. And I actually, in that, trained as a massage therapist. I knew that wasn't necessarily my long-term path, but it was really valuable education of being in the body, like getting out of your head. I lived in my head for so many years. And that was my first exposure to professors who started a class with a meditation or a chant
Oh.
or energy work or any sort of that thing. I was just really blown away and totally in it. So
Amazing.
totally sucked in.
So before we get into your business, we'll go to Rachel
Yes.
because I want to know, you also had a traditional path and you were in the box. And then there was a point where you're like, got to get out. So tell us about that.
I think similar to Leslie, like growing up in a small town, like you want to know about what is everybody else doing in the world. So whenever people would come as foreign exchange students, like I signed myself up as like, let me take you around. Like, and I wanted to know so much about, we didn't travel a lot as kids. So like, that was my like gateway to the world of like finding out like
drug.
exactly.
The foreign kids.
Yeah.
Kids are like, give
Make
them
friends
to me. Give them to me. They're gonna be my boyfriend. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, I think also just following like the next crumb, right? The next path that just comes up. And I took a quiz of like, they offered it for college selection. Like, you fill this out and we'll spit out your top 10 schools that match what you're looking for your life. And so I took that quiz and I applied to all 10. And I was like, whatever one that I get into that is the farthest away from here, that's where I'm going.
Oh.
And that's just what I did. And it was just the next thing. And then I remember my dad and I were filling out the application and he was like, do you ever want to be your own boss? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. He's like, then check that box for the business school. And so I ended out at the East Coast doing the Wharton Business School undergrad. And then from that, then you follow the next crumb, which everybody goes to New York City. And all my friends were going. So I wasn't going to come back home. So that pit stop in Philly was a great like little starter city. And if there was a Latin club party, I was there. If there was a French connection party, I was there. Like that, there was so much culture that I was just really trying to absorb. That then I went to New York and I ended up doing finance stuff for 8 years.
For Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
For Goldman Sachs. Yep, we did private wealth management and like of the Wall Street stuff to have. Like that was a group that was working with private client services. So it still felt like I was like, oh, I'm not doing the Wall Street. I'm doing the stuff that like is about helping people. And so I was surrounded by amazing people, amazing colleagues, amazing friends. And it was just a fun time to be in the city when you're
In your 20s in New York City. Yeah. We
I
got
can see-
London, we
I
got
can-
New York.
I know you guys are both so worldly, which I think also is, having that experiences in your 20s and being able to then feels like when I think about what you're doing now, it's like you've taken little pieces of all of that to create your own things.
Yeah.
All of that knowledge and the worldliness, the culture pieces, the botany, like all of the things you've pieced together to build.
So Rachel, when did you realize you're, job at Goldman Sachs. A lot of people want that. You're living in the city. When you were like, wait a second. I mean, it sounds like Leslie realized, oh, there's a ceiling here and this isn't quite right. Did you have
It's
a
weird. It was
moment?
like the same time. Like it was, I had a 30 months till 30 moment, and I was like, okay, I'm looking to the left, I'm looking to the right. I'm like, is this what I want to do for forever? Is this my forever? And I felt like that time was like during the subprime mortgage, all the 2008, 2009, and the women that had been so positively impacting my career there were also the first to be asked to leave.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And then I started doing some of their job, and I was like, wait a minute. Next round, like that would be me. And feeling that loss of like, if I don't even want this, like if I'm going to be fired, it's going to be because I quit. You know, it's not going to be because, you know, someone else told me my time was up. And that was one of those times where you're thinking back to like, I'm not going to be asked to do a commencement speech, but if I were at a graduation, I would say like, think back to like, what did you do as a kid when you weren't getting paid to do it? Like, where did you find flow? And for me, I was cutting hair and selling beads from my locker. And at that time, I was getting my hair cut at a place that was opening up a cosmetology school. And I was like,
In New York.
And I was like, this is it. This is my great escape. Like, it's now. And so I was working at Goldman at night and doing hair school during the day until I got
Did you do that quietly, or did people know?
No, I mean, you had to tell them why you weren't showing up. But it was more of like, you had to be kind of selective of who you were to tell, because there was a lot of, you're doing what? You're leaving this?
A lot of
You're
judgment.
going, you know, at that time period, it was like things were so uncertain, especially in the finance world, that, there was kind of a shift.
So brave, though.
I know, I think it was like, you kind of felt like you had to. I think my body was telling me that I had to. Like my eyes were changing. I had like 8 cavities all at the same time. And like I was getting these terrible
You're the
jaw
daughter of a
spins.
dentist.
Right. The cobbler's shoes don't get fixed either, right? But like I was having a lot of like jaw and neck pain, and like I couldn't figure out why. I did acupuncture, I did structural stuff. I mean, I looked, all the medical stuff, and I think it was my body being like, "We're done here. We're not going to sit at this desk, and we're not doing this." But at the time, you're only looking for like the medical answers, right? You're looking for like, oh, what could be wrong here? And it's like, well, you're grinding your teeth at night and you don't know it, like all kinds of things. So that was kind of my first back to the body, like, hello.
Yeah. So like the wild woman showed up for both of you.
I feel
like
like
it
that
feels like the
too.
knocking on the door of like, what are we doing here? Life is passing by. Is this actually what I want to do?
You both returned to yourselves much younger than we did.
Yeah, they did. They figured it out.
You did. I mean, and
About a
we don't
decade
talk a lot
earlier.
of people that have done that in their 30s, really. Right? I mean, you guys did.
We both did an about shift.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this plays for you, but I was mentioning I have my own personal like survey going on, and maybe you want to be one of the participants.
yeah.
But like when you were younger, what games did you play? I mean, like, did you play house? Were you playing dolls? Were you playing babies? Were you like, what was your like make believe game?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. It was probably with the dog and the cat out in the creek somewhere. Like, I had Barbies, but I remember doing that when I was really little, but I don't think that continued.
Yeah, I wasn't
So
trying to lead the witness. It was more of like, hey, like I feel like there's some of us that we weren't playing house and we weren't playing babies. Like,
No.
Yeah, what were you doing, Rachel?
No.
I was setting up libraries and like playing bank teller and turning the fan around to be like, we're not gonna get cash, and like just setting up systems in the house and helping my mom organize stuff. Like I was her best organizer, and so like a part of me sometimes I'm like, should I be I love those organizing shows. I'm sure you do too. But just that idea of like, what did you gravitate towards when you were playing make believe?
And that's why I think this idea of our first 10 years is so brilliant.
Yeah.
And because I agree that there are all these seeds of who you actually are in those first 10 years. And you and I talked about that idea about like you were organizing in your first 10 years and you're like, Betsy, what were you doing? I was like, oh yeah, I was playing house and I had babies and I was taking care of all the kids. And when Dan Kuiper would come over, he would be my husband. And, and I asked Kate that. I was like, Kate, what were you doing? What was your answer, Kate?
I was absolutely playing house, and I was always the mom. And then I made my middle sister always be the dad, always. And she would sometimes say, "Can I be the mom today?" No, nope. So I scarred her for life. But we had a whole house set up in our basement and hours And then we had this similar path, and you two have had
Yeah.
a similar path.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love too the entrepreneurial piece for both of you, that you
Mhm.
had these families that were in their own
Mhm.
businesses. So of
Yeah.
course it was just like, this is what I'm going to do.
Modeling it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get into, you both follow this traditional path. You did these jobs that you had a vision of other people doing this role. Rachel in finance, Leslie in sort of study abroad.
Mhm.
Tell us about the moment where you're like, I'm going to bust out and create my own business and do something in the creative landscape.
Mhm.
Do you remember, Leslie? You went to
Yeah.
school. Did it happen shortly after that?
Yeah, I think it was all rolled into that period of study. And I especially got curious about the products I was using and different ingredients and seeing things in different markets and shops and things. So, and it started with wanting to make things for myself that I couldn't find. I think the face oil was the first product I made.
I love the face oil.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. And then it was making things for friends and family and loved ones who, like, are they going through a surgery? Are they particularly stressed in this time? Like, how can I help or serve? And I like to hand make things, hand make gifts of whatever nature. So it made sense to hand make then a product kind of thing. But when it turned into, I mean, it had been kind of brewing for a long time, like, oh, maybe I should turn this into something. But I didn't really see the monetary side of it. Like, I didn't have a concept of how do I make this support me financially kind of thing. But it wasn't until I moved, my significant other at the time, we moved to Washington State for his job. So centering the guy
Mhm.
story. And there weren't a lot of job opportunities in roles that I wanted to do in higher ed. It was a small community. We were in Olympia outside of Seattle. So there just really weren't jobs that I could do. I worked at a community college for a little while, and that was really interesting. But again, it wasn't like the long game. So I finally just realized and took the leap, like, okay, this is my time. If I'm ever going to try this, I'm going to do it now because I kind of have a cushion, have a partner, support kind of thing. And I knew that if I really ran with it, I could be more successful, more financially stable with my own business than I could in higher ed. Like I said, there's a
Yeah.
cap with
Mm-hmm.
salary and role in higher ed. That's not real great. So I really wanted to dive in and try it, take the risk, and why not? Like,
Why not?
let's try it. So
So do you start it in Washington?
started it in Washington. Yeah.
Pure Luxe Apothecary. You
Yes.
started it with that name.
Yes. I did a little focus group with my London girlfriends, and we had a little like travel get together in Boston, and we just rolled around a lot of different names, and some appropriate and some not. But
Give us one of the ones that
well,
wasn't.
the inappropriate one was Leslie's Lady Garden. So you can take that however you want. That's my favorite.
Lot of ways.
That's my favorite one that stands out. I think that was Anna McGuire. That one's for you. Yeah. So just started it there. Well, I'm trying to think where I was going with it.
Did you move back then?
Yeah. So I started on Etsy that's what I was thinking of. I
Oh.
just started low key, little baby steps, started on Etsy, started selling things. And then in Olympia, there's a fantastic farmer's market that's year round, 4 days a week. And so I applied and thought, I love farmers markets. I love the people who are there. I'm going to try to go there. So I really built up like a large customer base and connection with a lot of community members and other makers who are also inspiring, because it was a mix of farmers and food and art and craft and all sorts of things. So yeah, I started there. Eventually, the significant other that ended. And so I decided to move back to the Midwest here. My family was here, parents getting older, wanted to spend time with them in their later years. So I moved everything back. I did end up going back into study abroad for a little bit. Just if there's one regret I have, it's probably not taking the risk to just keep doing full-time my business here. But I was nervous about healthcare, and I think that's a sticking point for a lot of people in the U.S. with healthcare
Tied
to
to
a job.
employment. Yes.
Yeah. So I went back into part-time work here at Iowa in the study abroad office. Fabulous group of people, but again, it's not my true path.
It's not your
True
zone of
calling.
genius. It's not your zone of genius.
Yeah, it was kind of a painful reminder that a lot of people can be good at things, but that doesn't mean you're meant
To
to
do
do
it.
them. Yeah.
It doesn't fill you up in the way it should.
Yeah, and it can drain you.
And
really
now you
quickly.
are full time. Now
Yes.
your business
Yes.
full time. You're
Yeah.
doing this full
Since
time.
2023, I think I finally said, this is burning me out really fast, trying to do
Both.
both things and doing neither particularly well, when your energy is kind of split and divided. So I just jumped in and thought, hey, try it. I knew I would regret not trying it. So just seeing where it goes and trying to grow slowly, steadily, be sustainable.
I just want to share that when we spent time with you in your beautiful home, that the image that I had was lessons in chemistry, because it felt like that's what you're doing in your home is
Yeah.
chemistry.
Yes.
And in the most organized possible way. But it's just this little workshop of like experimentation and
Oils and scents and
Yeah.
so fun to see you in your element.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
so you're
That's
doing
fun
face
to do that.
care and
Yeah, it's primarily skincare.
Skincare.
But the bigger picture for me is, and it includes other wellness goods, but it's really about holistic health for me. Whatever. So someday I can kind of envision down the road that it's a broader umbrella of things, but this is like the first tangible step of blending natural plants and botanicals and sharing that with other people. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see.
beautiful.
Thanks.
So Rachel, when did you left New York?
Yes, not as graceful as what you've described. I feel like a
Tell us
little
how you
clunky.
Yeah.
left, and then when the business
Burn it
entrepreneur
down.
stuff, you burned it down.
You burn it down. You break up with the boyfriends, and then you burn it down.
Oh, I have all the clunky stories too. I just
Well, you left
filtered
those out. You left those out.
That's a different discussion.
Different
Different
podcast.
podcast.
Different day. No, I feel like I'd made the switch to the cosmetology school without really thinking it through. Of like, you can't live in New York City on like
Salary.
minimum wage. Like, I knew that subconsciously, but it wasn't really my master plan to come back home. And so then I ended up coming home, and then you turn 30 at your parents' house, and there's a part of you that's like proud for leaving, and then there's the other part of like, how are you going to explain this to everybody? And I think one thing that's happened for me repeatedly in life is the universe has sent me these beautiful silver-haired therapists.
And Crohn's.
They've sent me Crohn's right at the time when I needed them. And there was a one woman, she was Irish in New York, and she sat in my cosmetology chair. She wasn't supposed to be there that day. And I ended up doing her blowout. And I said, "What is it that you do?" She said, "I'm a therapist." And I said, "Are you taking new people? I would love to come to you." And, and she gave me the first thing, like the first words of like, am I allowed to want what I want? She described like the process of individuation and what that meant to change your mind about like, but I'd been working so hard, and my parents, like everyone's rooting for me, and they were so proud to say that I had gone out east and that I'd done this job, and like, what are they going to say now? And she was kind of like, who cares? She was the first person to say like, you're going to have to live this life. You're going to have to live
life.
this.
Yes.
And I am so grateful for her. And she kind of held my hand throughout that entire move process. And when I got back to my parents, like I lived with them for a while, and I started working at a salon until my license transferred from New York to Iowa. And, I had traveled a lot throughout school. I also had done a study abroad in Spain and one in Hong Kong. And so like my gift to my parents was like, I'm not paying rent, but I can cook, and I will like share with you what I've
Nice.
learned. My parents didn't have the travel bug, so that was one way that I could bring it back and share it with them. So we started kind of trading that kind of thing. And then a friend called and said, "Hey, I'm doing this pop-up shop, and do you still have any earrings? Do you still have any jewelry? Do you have any beads or anything?" And I was like, "I have been
Selling out of the locker.
Yeah, exactly.
From high school.
I brought my beads everywhere. I brought them to Philadelphia. I brought them to New York, but I just never made time to use them. But I always loved collecting them.
I actually really love that.
Yeah,
It's like you were carrying your future around,
just didn't know. Yeah,
but you weren't quite ready to activate it.
totally. And so, yeah, then we started, and we realized really quickly, like, there's a community of makers out there. Like, this is resonating with people, and so we started Made Community. It was 2011 was our first holiday season, and we started gathering other makers that we were like, we can bring your stuff to the markets, and we thought we were doing our own little Etsy. Like, Etsy was a gateway at that time for a lot of people that had
Huge.
ideas. We just didn't know how to get
Especially
them out there.
women.
Especially
Yeah.
women. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it has done a lot. And then everybody was on Etsy, and you couldn't be found anywhere.
Yep.
So you kind of had to figure out how you were going to get your name out there. So
Mm.
Well, and we were just saying that our jewelry boxes are filled
With
with Made. Even before we knew you, we started buying things. So
What's your favorite thing to make? I mean, you're well known for your earrings, but Leslie's wearing one of your bracelets or your necklaces today. For all of our Tend Her programming, you were the one who made all the amazing bracelets, 1,000 per year. So, like, is there one thing in particular that you especially love, like that you get inspired to make?
I think it's the earrings. It's
Yeah.
always been the earrings, because like I feel like with necklaces, you're worrying about them like matching the outfit or whatever, and you're like, with the earrings, you can be like, this is how I feel today. This is what I want to put on, or I'm drawn to this texture, this color. Like, this is what I need to put out there today. So I think for me, it's the earrings.
You inspired me, and probably through the Tend Her stuff, to wear much bigger, bolder earrings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out from across the room. That's always our thing.
See
is
you
like,
from across the room. And I remember you push, like in a nice way, but you're like, yes, you can wear those. You can wear those.
a lot of people play it small, like across the board, but especially like I think on their jewelry or their earrings that reflects like
Yeah.
where they're at or what they're willing to show, like what cards they're willing to show to people. And I think you could go bigger too, Leslie, if I'm honest.
I love it. Go big or go home. Okay, so I want to hear from both of you. What's the best thing about being a creative? Like, you both clearly have it in you. You have the entrepreneurial spirit. You both have started these businesses that have touched a lot of people. Like, what's the best part about being your own boss and your own creative?
Well, it's probably a typical response, but it's true for me, the freedom, I think, to play, to be curious, to experiment, to learn. Like, there's no limit or, end to what you could delve into or play with or try. So, I mean, that is a blessing and a curse too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to have boundaries that you have to play within that helps you be more creative, but it's also really nice to have kind of the sky's the limit to be able to pivot and shift and change. But I just, I don't like to feel trapped in any way, form, or anything in any part of my life.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the freedom of it.
And you had so much freedom as a child being outside all the
Yes.
time. That
I think for me, like, I think also the flexibility too of like, I'm historically like a night person. And so it's like, if I need to stay up all night and crank out a bunch of pairs of whatever I'm making, then that's fine. Like, I think it was always hard for me to get to work and be ready on time and to be there and like to be full. And then now it's like, this is what I have paced my days so that I can do the thing that I'm really good at and really inspired at the time when it serves me and when it like works for our family. And I think that's like a big piece. It is provide an opportunity for flexibility. Like, I feel like right now with two working parents that you need one person to be flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful.
And like you said, a blessing and a curse, because sometimes I feel like a lot of the flexing comes from my side of the fence. And, but I'm also really grateful for that because you're the only one that's keeping track of what you did and did not do today, which I always say it's like a different kind of hard, right? Like, it's you're responsible if you don't show up or you don't. And so like you only have yourself to blame. And I think it's really taught me that about trusting myself and trusting that like, I'll do what I say I'm going to do. I'll show up in the way that I can show up for the people that are expecting things today, and also getting to work with other women.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the best part. And like the collaborating on these boxes or the events or like with other, I love to work with other business owners. There's like a
Subculture.
Yeah.
subculture or there's its
Totally.
own language where we can skip past like individual
Mhm.
sales, I don't need to convince you need these earrings, but like if you
Yeah.
are working with another business owner that you can just talk really straight of like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. Do you have something like that? It's really easy. They get it.
Yeah.
You guys get it. You understand like what you're trying to do. And because we're smaller, we can pivot and we can really like be responsive in a way that if we'd had to run it past corporate and run it past the
Oh,
marketing
yeah.
team and make
Never
sure
get
that
done.
everything was in made style like font, then
Yeah.
it slows you down.
Yeah.
So I
and
like to be
loses some of the
responsive.
creativity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't you think women were probably like that for way back? They were in the villages and Rachel was good at this and Leslie was good at
Yeah.
this and you bought your, you traded. There's probably a lot
Yeah.
of trading. I mean, I just feel like you're almost getting back.
Yeah, I think it's also helped, like in line with what you guys all talk about and teach about. It's helped me to shake off some of the expected or traditional roles, like the roles and responsibilities that we take on because we're supposed to,
Yeah.
because we're female or whatever. Like the last 10 years or so has really been a lot of repeat lessons of me learning how to center myself and not a partner or my job or my colleagues or whatever, like to really center me and make things align. And it's hard. It's awkward as heck, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding. Yeah.
That's one thing I'm sitting here realizing that the four of us have a lot in common. A, we all have We all have sisters. But B, there was also a moment for all of us where we left these sort of well laid out traditional plans.
Mm-hmm.
We all were the good students and we ticked off the good grades and we went to the right schools and we got the good jobs. But there came that moment of like, this does not work. There's another part of me that's laying dormant right now that I need to
Right.
attend to. So I just think I think there's probably so many more women out there that also are similar to that or want to do that, that there's another way to live. And so I love what both of you said is that there's inherent freedom. You get to figure out your own rhythm. You get to figure out your own schedule. There's like a sovereignty that comes with it, which I think in many cases, that's what women really, we desire the most is we want to be sovereign.
That's actually rewilding.
Yes.
It's getting back
Yeah.
to your essence and what fills you up and what your purpose and your gifts and being sovereign and liberated.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't see either of you in an office.
No.
Oh my goodness.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's really painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this collaboration that all of us have come together on. So we put together a Rewilding Box, which, by the way, if you do the course with us, that starts July 7, you will get a Rewilding Box in the mail with these amazing things. We will also potentially have some extra boxes that if you just want the goods, you can order the box as well. So in the Rewilding Box, we're not going to tell you everything, but we're going to tell you the two things that both of you helped us with. So Leslie, let's start with the scent that we crafted, which, by the way, we're calling it Wear Your Wild, which that came from Rachel.
Yes.
How cool.
So that was your creative brainchild. You should say Wear Your Wild. So we worked with you to create a signature scent, and we went back and forth, I don't know, 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
We went to your little laboratory and you pulled out all your syringes and your tools, and we were gobsmacked by how cool it was.
Her beakers.
And we came up with an amazing scent.
Yeah. It was really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about that process.
Well, I've never made a custom blend for anybody before, so I didn't really.
This is your first of many, I have a sense.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't really have a plan. As we were going, I was figuring out, oh, I should have done this, or had a questionnaire, or had you smell different things to start. You learn as you go. But it was really fun to kind of figure out, like you had a brief of like what you wanted it to be about, and so it was fun to try to puzzle and figure out like, well, what does that mean to you? And what helped is that you both had an oil, an essential oil that you both really loved that stood out to both of you. And those ended up being kind of the bookends of the whole scent profile.
Vetiver and bergamot. Those are our two scents.
So vetiver is very kind of earthy, grounding, kind of the base note of a perfume. And then bergamot is very light, bright, great for mental health and cheeriness and well-being. And on the top end of the notes of a perfume or scent mix. So then we just kind of played with figuring out what
in the
goes
middle.
in the middle, what connects everything. So
Yeah.
that was fun. It was really cool.
It was a very cool process. And what we love about this scent is that it is natural and
Yes.
it's essential oils. It's not
Mhm.
perfume.
Correct.
And so it's actually can be even considered therapeutic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're not going to annoy people on
Yes.
in your life with a really strong scent that might give people headaches because it's all
Exactly.
natural.
Yeah, it's a more personal scent. So you roll it on your skin and the warmth of your skin sort of opens up the different molecules and it stays close to the body versus like a department store perfume kind of lingers in a cloud of scent behind you kind of thing.
What
is
that?
Yeah.
I think people get really annoyed by that anymore these
Yeah.
days.
That's
Yeah.
the synthetic chemicals, unfortunately. So natural, it dissipates quicker,
Mhm.
but it's pure. It's straight from the plants. It's more personal, and like you said, it's all botanicals kind of work on a lot of different levels, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. So there's a lot of different therapeutic properties in all the oils, and then when they're mixed together, there's like a synergistic combination that can't be duplicated. You know, it's unique to that certain blend. So
We would like to believe if you also want to leave your job or just
will
put
help
this
you.
on and it will help you.
Yeah. We've been carrying it around in our bags and then reapplying
It's
it.
been on the dash of my
Yes.
car
Yeah.
and I'm like reapplying it as
Yeah.
I'm driving places.
Yeah, we had Rachel
Yeah.
test it out
Yeah.
today.
But it was really interesting and fun for me to watch you two kind of be in the process and how intuitive you both are, and to know, I like that, I don't like that, that's not right, that's not sending the right message or creating the right feel. Like that was really fun.
Yeah, and you were very
Terrific.
patient with us.
Yeah.
But
Visit 8, we're like, well,
You have to love it though.
yeah.
You know, it's
So it was a
personal.
process for you and I, because it's
Yeah.
almost co-creating what
Yeah.
our chemistry is.
and we
in a
learned
sense.
that Kate has a stronger schnoz than I
I
do
do.
because she could in
I
the end I'm
definitely
like,
do.
Kate, your nose is stronger than mine. I'm going to go with
Uh-huh.
what you think.
I was
Yes.
just like, oh, like
Yes.
That's it.
Clear.
You knew.
I did.
Yeah.
But I also am trying to be a good partner. And you were just
a
like,
good partner.
you was like, no, you strong, like, yes, that's because we were just fine tuning it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
A lot of good alchemy.
alchemy.
That's
a good word.
yes.
Okay. And then these amazing, what do we call them? Bag
charms.
Bag charms.
I like bag tags, but I'm a fan
Bag
of things that
tag.
rhymes. But it's the purse charms, bag charms.
Mhm.
Some
Okay,
of the-
tell us about the birth of this, and because
Yeah.
I didn't know about these, but they're kind of a thing now.
yeah, they're definitely a thing, and I appreciate for you guys because we've collaborated so many times that
Bracelets, earrings, all of it.
and
This
I
is
wanted it
new.
to be something new. We wanted
Mhm.
it to feel, but still have like this like symbolic, represent what the course was about, and also to tie into the themes of the things that you guys are talking about, not just on the podcast, but like in the upcoming course. And so the idea of incorporating a wolf, and how do you do an elegant wolf?
Mhm.
You did
like,
it.
You did it.
There's and then also to add that texture piece with the bag charm, we wanted it to have some weight, and then also to have just like a good feel. And so you can
Mhm.
clip it on your bag, and it's still with you every day, but it's not necessarily something that you have to put on. Or you
Just-
could, you could put it in your car. You could hang it. You can clip it to
Mhm.
anything, but just the idea of something different that still had a good weight and texture and feel
Yeah.
to it.
Little leather on it, and it's just
I told Kate it'll be like the sign that you're a part of the wolf pack. So if you
Yes.
see some,
Yes.
Yeah.
because we've had this with your bracelets or your earrings, that when we've included them in different programs we've done, other women see each other wearing these things and are like, oh,
I
you did the
that
tend
too.
her too.
Yeah.
And so we sort of feel like this is the sign of like, oh yeah, I'm rewilding as
Totally.
well.
Mhm.
And that happens a lot at the markets and stuff that we do. Like, we make all this stuff, and then we don't necessarily know
Where's it
who,
go?
where
Yeah.
where it goes.
Mhm.
And then when we see people come and you're like, I know that piece, or I know that pair of earrings, and they're like, you do? And I'm like, yeah, we made those. And it's like a
Mhm.
fun connection to
Yes.
see that
Mhm.
in person.
Yeah.
Out in the
Out
wild.
in the wild.
It's out in the wild. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be so fun to see all these pieces come together, and you'll be seeing that in the next few weeks as we kind of roll out what the box is going to contain and more information on the course about how you can sign up. So,
Yep. Registration starts June 16. And final thing, we love so much collaborating with women and collaborating with female-owned businesses. And thank you so much for telling your stories today. I think that is also inspiring for women, those women out there that are like, I have this idea, but I'm kind of scared to go for it, to hear other women who are like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the leap. And you guys both did that. And it's really inspiring.
yeah. And I think it's also important to note that you started before you left.
It's a great point.
And it's okay to have kind of the side as you're exploring, right? Because it's scary to jump.
Yes.
But and I was a little that way. I was kind of on the side doing stuff.
Yes.
And then there's a moment where it tips.
Yep.
And I think for women, we almost need to dip our toe in the water
Yeah.
and try some things,
Mhm.
and that it's okay
Yeah.
to hold both for a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
This has been so much fun. I feel like I know you both even better, even though
Mhm.
I've known you for years. And thank you
I
for
love too
sharing.
how also the both of you have a lot of commonalities. And I
Yeah,
don't know if
you
we knew that
do.
until we sat down
No.
and started to talk to
I
you
don't
guys.
think we knew that.
No.
I didn't.
You guys have both been
put
on
it
all these
together.
makers markets together, and
Yeah, similar path,
Because
really.
you were at the Not Your Mother's Craft Fair one year,
No,
right?
that was before I moved back.
before you moved back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget where we met first, but I knew I resonated with you and was drawn to you. And that's why maybe.
Yeah.
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 Well, we're going to put information on both your businesses and where people can find you online. And you have, you're partnering with Revival, where a lot of your jewelry. So look for that on social media and in our show notes. And thank you again for being part of this cool collaboration.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks for
for
including us.
having us.
Thank you, brilliant women.
Thank you.
cool.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review. Come back and rewild with us again next week.